The RSA strategy commits us to work in three areas. Public services and communities is one, learning and development is the second, the third is economy, enterprise and manufacturing. And in our economy strand, our Great Recovery Project uses design perspectives to explore the scope for less wasteful, more circular forms of production. We work with makers' spaces to exploit the potential of technology to enable new forms of craft, small-scale manufacturing. And our business research has challenged negative views of growing self-employment, showing how people prize the greater autonomy of being their own boss. We intend to expand our economic work, but as we do so, we need to develop an account of what a good economy, a power to create economy, would comprise. In this speech, I suggest a framework for a resilient human welfare economy based on the following 5 design principles. Such an economy would have clarity of mission and purpose. It would be efficient and sustainable in its use of assets. It would be effective and strategic in the application of key policy instruments. It would empower individual citizens as economic actors, and it would be participative and democratic in its economic institutions. On the basis of these principles, I also identify a set of policies, many of which the RSA will be advocating in coming months. So tomorrow, George Osborne will tell us how well our national economy is doing. And we are all, no doubt, relieved not to be in the terrible plight of Greece. Indeed, on conventional measures, we are doing better than most, if not the rest of Europe. But the question is this: have we as a country agreed, have we even properly debated what a successful economy means? Last week, with the support of Prince Charles, Cambridge University's Institute for Sustainable Leadership published a list of tasks to be undertaken by government and business in pursuit of sustainability, ranging from taxing environmental harms to creating new financial structures. And there has indeed been much important work on alternative economic models and indicators. But the fact is that on the whole, this work has only rarely broken through into mainstream policy debate or public consciousness. Why not? Well, over the last 20 years, economic policy has been largely framed by 2 contrasting narratives. Between the mid-90s and 2008, the story was that economic growth, portrayed as permanent, end to boom and bust, I'm sure you remember that economic growth would enable us in time to solve all problems. Now, towards the end of that period, there was some questioning of that orthodoxy. There was the Sarkozy Commission on Alternatives to GDP. David Cameron became an enthusiast for well-being. And that added to a more established environmentalist critique of growth. But just as the growth solves all problems discourse was starting to be seriously questioned, we had the credit crunch. The economy of 1995 to 2008 was portrayed as bountiful, the economy of 2008 onwards vengeful and fickle. We didn't need to question the first, and we couldn't afford to question the second. The narrowness of this debate has been reinforced by the way we, the public, tend to think about economics as a technical discipline which only those with specialist knowledge can engage. Portraying economics as a science, even in the face of its many failures of prediction, disguises the importance of history, culture, values in economic ideas. Whether it's international competitiveness, shareholder value, or GDP itself, mainstream economic discourse is full of complex, sometimes ideologically freighted ideas masquerading as purely technical descriptions of reality. In this sense, one of the greatest problems standing in the way of building an economy that serves society may be us, our conservatism, our impatience, our cynicism. Being focused on impact at the RSA, we tend to think a policy idea is only as good as the model of public engagement that accompanies it, which is why my final proposal, one which I'd like the RSA itself to take forward, is to create a Citizens' Economic Council. This would be a body of around 30 representative but independent people. Its members would be drawn from businesses, large, medium, small, social, from civil society, the third sector, from employee and professional organisations, from local and central government. Working in the open so anyone could watch its deliberations and input to its debates, the task of the Council over a 2-year period will be to explore the deeper strengths and frailties of our economy, to develop core design principles for a resilient human welfare economy, and to assess a set of ideas which might help to create that economy by 2030. The aim would be for the Council's conclusions to be published sufficiently far in advance of the next general election to influence the debate, maybe even some of the policies being placed before the electorate. Tomorrow, George Osborne will unveil a set of new economic policies. Some of these policies are to be welcomed, particularly the next steps towards greater city devolution. The Chancellor's political job is to keep his party, the voters, and the City of London happy, and by that measure, he's doing a pretty good job. The task of the RSA today is, as it has always been, to ask bigger questions. to engage our fellows and the wider world in exploring new possibilities and experimenting with new approaches. My aim tonight has been to provide a framework for our research, not to predetermine its outcome. Nevertheless, I believe that principles such as these can enable us to take a broader, more ambitious view of economic debate, and maybe too, to make it easier for non-economists like me to join in that debate.